Imagine a world where the very foundation of faith is shaken. This is not a tale from a dystopian novel. It's the reality of the Catholic Church in 2024. In the heart of Vatican City, the hallowed halls of the Catholic Church echo with whispers of disquiet. The spiritual home of over 1 billion faithful worldwide finds itself in the eye of a storm, with Pope Francis at its center. His papacy, once a beacon of hope and renewal, is now shrouded in controversy. Let's take a moment to understand the term that's causing the ripples, apostasy. Derived from the Greek word apostasia, it signifies a defection or revolt. In the realm of Christianity, it's the abandonment or renunciation of religious belief, a severe transgression that shakes the very pillars of faith. In the context of the Catholic Church, allegations of apostasy are grave indeed. They signify a deviation from the Church's teachings, a break from centuries of sacred tradition. The magnitude of such accusations is hard to overstate. They suggest a church in crisis, grappling with issues that threaten to undermine its credibility and authority. As the leader of the Catholic Church, Pope Francis finds himself at the center of these allegations. His actions, his teachings, his very leadership are under scrutiny. The pontiff, once the embodiment of unity and faith, is now a symbol of division and controversy. The Church is at a crossroads, a juncture that could redefine Christianity as we know it. As we delve deeper into this tapestry of faith and controversy, we seek to unravel the truth, to understand the implications of these charges, and to explore what lies ahead for the Catholic Church. The Church is at a crossroads, a juncture that could redefine Christianity as we know it. At the center of this storm is one man, Pope Francis, the first of his name, and a figure who sparks both admiration and controversy. Born Jorge Mario Bergoglio in Buenos Aires, Argentina, in the year 1936, he was chosen to lead the Catholic Church in March 2013, taking on the name Francis in honor of Saint Francis of Assisi. This choice was a signal of his commitment to the poor and the marginalized, echoing the works of the saint who chose to live in poverty. Pope Francis, the first non-European pope in over a millennium and the first from the Americas, brought a breath of fresh air to the Vatican. He is known for his humility, his emphasis on mercy and compassion, and his candid, off-the-cuff style. All of these traits have endeared him to many, both within and outside the Church. However, his papacy has not been without controversy. From the moment he stepped onto the balcony of St. Peter's Basilica to greet the world as the new pope, Francis has made significant changes. He has challenged traditional Catholic teachings and practices, urging the Church to be more open and inclusive. This has led to debates about the direction of the Church, with some praising his progressive stance while others accuse him of leading the Church towards apostasy. One of the most contentious issues has been his approach to the doctrine. While all popes are tasked with preserving the teachings of the Church, Francis has been seen as a reformer, willing to engage with modern issues and challenge established norms. From his stance on divorce and remarriage to his views on climate change and capitalism, Francis has shown a willingness to engage with the complexities of the 21st century in a way that has not always sat well with more conservative elements within the Church. Pope Francis, a man of the people or a harbinger of apostasy? The jury is still out. But what exactly are these accusations of apostasy that have been leveled against the Pope? It's a question that many have asked in the wake of the recent controversies. To answer this, let's delve into the specifics. The charges of apostasy against Pope Francis stem from several actions he's taken that critics argue contradict core doctrines of the Christian faith. One such instance is his stance on interfaith dialogue. This has raised eyebrows among some who point to verses like 2 Corinthians 6:14, which cautions against being unequally yoked with unbelievers. Then there's the issue of Pope Francis's approach to the sacraments, particularly those of marriage and confession. Critics argue that his views veer away from traditional teachings, citing verses like Mark 10:9, "What therefore God has joined together, let not man separate." And let's not forget his take on the environment and climate change, which, while commendable in the secular world, has led some to accuse him of diverting attention from spiritual matters. They reference Colossians 3:2, "Set your minds on things that are above, not on things that are on earth." But perhaps one of the most contentious issues revolves around Pope Francis's views on salvation. Some argue that his seemingly inclusive stance blurs the line of the Christian belief, "I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me," as stated in John 14:6. Now, it's important to note that these are charges, allegations, if you will, and not definitive proof of apostasy. They represent the views of a section of the Christian community and are part of a larger discourse on the direction of the Church under Pope Francis. Whether one agrees with these charges or not, it's undeniable that they have sparked intense debate. These charges, whether true or not, have sent ripples across the Christian community worldwide. Such is the magnitude of the situation that it has led many to question, to reflect, and to reassess their understanding of faith and doctrine. The Church, once a beacon of unity, now stands divided. The Catholic Church, an institution that has stood for over 2,000 years, finds itself in the throes of internal discord. The catalyst? A pope whose ideas and actions have stirred up a storm of controversy. Pope Francis, the first pope from the Americas, is seen by many as a progressive force within the Church. His emphasis on social justice and inclusivity has won him legions of supporters. Yet his critics view these very attributes as signs of apostasy, a departure from the traditional teachings of the Church. The division isn't just about Pope Francis, though. It's about the very essence of the Church, its teachings, its traditions, and its future. On one side, you have those who believe in a more inclusive Church, one that adapts and evolves with the times, interpreting the Scriptures in a modern context. On the other, there are those who see this as a betrayal of the core principles of the faith. They argue for a return to traditionalism, to the rigid interpretations of the past. This standoff has led to a deep chasm within the Church, creating an atmosphere of uncertainty and unrest for the faithful. This division has had profound consequences. It has led to a crisis of faith for some as they grapple with the question of what it means to be a Catholic in this day and age. It has also sparked fierce debates about the role of the Church in society and how it should respond to the challenges of the modern world. But perhaps most importantly, it has forced a reevaluation of the Church's mission. Is it to preserve the past or to shape the future? To stick to tradition or to adapt and evolve? These are the questions that lie at the heart of this divide. A house divided against itself cannot stand, so said Abraham Lincoln, echoing the words of Christ. As the Catholic Church grapples with these issues, it must remember these words. For a house divided cannot stand, and a church divided risks losing its way. This isn't just a storm in Vatican City. The tremors are being felt worldwide. The controversy surrounding Pope Francis and the charges of apostasy have sent ripples through the global community. These aren't just waves crashing against the shores of the Catholic Church, but they are touching the hearts and minds of individuals across every Christian denomination. As we traverse the continents, from the Americas to Africa, from Europe to Asia, we see a shift in perception. The once unwavering faith in the Church's leadership is now faced with questions, doubts, and a thirst for clarity. This is more than about a single person or a single institution. It is about faith, about belief, and about the spiritual compass that guides billions of lives. In the United States, where nearly 1 in every 4 individuals identifies as Catholic, the impact is significant. The pillars of faith are being shaken, leading to soul-searching and introspection. Across the Atlantic, in Africa, where the Catholic Church has seen exponential growth, the faithful are grappling with the implications of these allegations. In Asia, home to diverse Christian denominations, the tremors are felt too. The controversy has sparked dialogues, debates, and discussions, challenging the status quo and encouraging critical thinking about faith and leadership. The impact is not limited to the Catholic Church. Protestant denominations, Orthodox churches, and even non-Christian faiths are observing these developments closely. They are reflections and lessons of faith, leadership, and accountability that transcend religious boundaries. The global impact of this controversy is a testament to the interconnected world we live in. It shows that faith and spirituality are not confined to geographical boundaries or institutional walls. They are universal, they are personal, and they are deeply ingrained in the human experience. These tremors shaking the Vatican are indeed global, shaking the foundations of faith worldwide. They are a call for transparency, for dialogue, and for unity in the face of adversity. The eyes of the world are fixed on the Vatican, waiting, watching. The world waits for the storm to pass, for calm to return. But until then, the ripples continue to expand, touching every corner of the globe. As we gaze into the chasm of uncertainty, one question looms large. What is the future of the Catholic Church? In the wake of the Pope Francis apostasy allegations, we find ourselves contemplating the potential paths that lie ahead for the Church. We're looking at a crossroads of tradition and change, a fork in the road that could lead the Church into uncharted waters or back to the safety of its time-honored practices. On the one hand, we have the continuation of Pope Francis's policies. His progressive stance on issues like climate change, poverty, and social justice has resonated with many, particularly the younger generations. He's brought a breath of fresh air to the Vatican, challenging norms and pushing boundaries. But this approach has not been without its critics. Those who accuse him of apostasy argue that he's strayed too far from the Church's core teachings, that he's lost sight of the spiritual in his quest for societal reform. On the other hand, there's the possibility of a return to more traditional practices. There are those who yearn for a Church that holds steadfast to its doctrines, that is unwavering in its beliefs. They see the accusations against Pope Francis as a wake-up call, a sign that the Church needs to recenter itself and refocus on its spiritual mission. But what does this mean for the future? It's a question that's impossible to answer with absolute certainty. The Church is a living, breathing entity, constantly evolving and adapting. It's influenced by a myriad of factors, from societal changes to the personal beliefs of its leaders. What we do know is this: the Catholic Church is at a pivotal point in its history. The decisions it makes now will echo through the ages, shaping its identity for generations to come. It's a time of introspection, a time for the Church to decide what it stands for and what direction it wants to take. The future remains uncertain, but one thing is clear: the Catholic Church will never be the same again. So, what can we glean from this maelstrom of faith and controversy? As we draw near to the end of our journey through the tumultuous events of 2024, it's time to reflect on the key points that have emerged. One of the most prominent issues we've examined is the charge of apostasy leveled against Pope Francis. This is no light accusation. It suggests a total abandonment of faith, a renouncement of the very core of what it means to be a part of the Catholic Church. It has sparked a fierce debate, not just about the Pope's actions, but about the very nature of faith itself. This leads us to the second major takeaway: the division within the Church. The accusations against Pope Francis have not only challenged his leadership, but have also stirred a deep divide among the faithful. Some stand firm with the Pope, citing his progressive views as a much-needed shift towards a more inclusive Church. Others, however, see his actions as a departure from traditional values, causing a rift that has yet to be mended. Finally, we've seen the global impact of these events. The Catholic Church's influence extends far beyond its own walls. The controversy surrounding Pope Francis has sparked conversations around the world, not just about the future of the Church, but about the role of faith in our societies. It has compelled us to question and reflect on our own beliefs and how they shape our world. These are not just events, they are a call to reflection, a call to reassess our understanding of faith and the role of the Church. As we navigate these complex issues, let's remember that it's through questioning and reflection that we often find the most profound answers. These events serve as a reminder of the power and influence of faith and the importance of maintaining integrity within our beliefs. No matter where we stand, one thing is certain: the conversation is far from over. As we stand on the precipice of change, it's worth remembering the words of Matthew 16:18. In this verse, Jesus said to Peter, "And I tell you that you are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church, and the gates of Hades will not overcome it." These words, spoken over 2,000 years ago, still echo in our ears today, a testament to the enduring strength and faith of the Church. In the context of Pope Francis and the allegations of apostasy, these words take on a profound significance. The rock that Jesus speaks of, the foundation upon which the Church is built, is not a person or a place, but a set of beliefs, values, and principles. It's the faith of millions, an unshakable commitment to the teachings of Christ. Regardless of the controversies and the divisions that may arise, the Church, in its essence, remains steadfast. The gates of Hades, a metaphor for the forces of evil and chaos, will not overcome it. This verse is a reminder that despite the trials and tribulations, the Church will continue to stand strong. It's important to remember that people, even popes, are fallible. They make mistakes, they err, they falter. But the Church, the rock, remains. Its essence is not tied to any one individual or any one period in history. It transcends them all. The Church is the community of believers, the body of Christ, united in faith and purpose. So as we navigate these turbulent times, let's hold on to these words. Let's remember that the church, in its truest sense, is not just a building or an institution. It's a living, breathing entity, founded on a rock-solid faith, a faith that has withstood the test of time, a faith that will continue to stand no matter what. In the midst of controversy and change, perhaps these words offer a beacon of hope, a reminder that the church, in its essence, remains unshaken. But what do you think? Is Pope Francis leading the church into apostasy, or is he a catalyst for much-needed change? That's the question we leave you with today. It's a conundrum that has been stirring the hearts and minds of many across the globe. As we journeyed through the unfolding of this narrative, we've examined the charges of apostasy, the division within the church, and the global impact it has had. We've also pondered over the future of the church. We've presented facts, figures, and even verses from the Bible, all in an effort to provide a comprehensive understanding of the situation. Yet the truth of the matter is, the story is still being written. It's a script that's shaped not only by the actions of Pope Francis, but also by the reactions of the billions of Catholics worldwide and the broader Christian community. So, we invite you to reflect. Reflect on the information presented, the different perspectives shared, and the potential implications for the church and the world at large. We encourage you to step back from the noise and the chaos, to critically analyze the facts, and most importantly, to seek wisdom from the Word of God. We invite you to join the conversation. We invite you to share your thoughts, ideas, and interpretations. But remember, this isn't a battleground. It's a platform for respectful and thoughtful dialogue. So let's strive to listen as much as we speak, to understand as much as we argue, and to love as much as we disagree. After all, faith is not a monologue, it's a conversation. And this conversation is just getting started. Let's keep it going, folks. Let's continue to challenge, to question, and to grow. Because that's what faith is all about. It's not static, it's dynamic. It's a journey, and every journey is an invitation to discovery. Let's discover together.